Welcome to the Empowerpreneurs podcast, all about building a business and life you love by doing it on your terms. I'm your host, Kaina, founder of Sonikai, and every week you will learn how to create more income, freedom, and impact with strategies, inspirational stories, tips, and good vibes only. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out, and let's get started. Welcome to the Empowerpreneurs podcast, or welcome back. I just wanted to hop on here and talk to you about my new free training, the 3 steps framework to magnetic content that calls in dream clients. If you want to learn my signature step-by-step method to turn your followers into dream clients, and yes, even if you don't have a big following or if you're not an expert yet, if you want to also learn how to create content that speaks directly to your ideal client's soul without being overwhelmed or spending hours in front of your laptop. And if you want to know the biggest mistake coaches and service providers make when trying to grow and get clients and why you don't have the results that you want, this is the training for you. If you are here to really start attracting an aligned audience that converts into dream aligned paying clients, where you can wake up every single day and feel so energized and feel so passionate about what you do and so proud about the progress that you're making every single day and the clients that you get to help, then this is the best masterclass and the best training for you, where you will be able to integrate my best lessons to magnetic content strategies so you can really create content, compelling and consistent content that convert into aligned dream clients. So this is for you if you feel stuck into the hamster wheel of always producing content that doesn't convert, of producing content that doesn't get as many results that you would like. If you really want to captivate people, this is the training that you will want to sign up to. So the link is in the description below if you want to check it out. I'm excited for your success and I'm excited for this amazing episode. Thank you for listening. Hello, Empowerpreneurs, and welcome back to the Empowerpreneurs podcast. I am so excited for this conversation today and, be really present with us because you are going to get so much gold. I'm so grateful for you to be here. Welcome, Christine. Hi.
Hi. I love right off the bat, I just got to say, I love that you asked everyone who's watching or listening this to be fully present, because that is so important. So I'm already excited for this conversation.
You don't want to miss anything. You can't miss anything. This is truly important. Take a notepad as well. I always love when I watch YouTube videos or like listen to podcasts to always have a notebook or maybe just a tab open so that when I hear things that are, oh, that's interesting, I can then, write them down so that I can implement them, because we're like, okay, I'm just listening, doing other things and it's good. But sometimes we're like, okay, I need to remember this. And then we don't. So it's just great to kind of like brain dump it and just take the time to take a couple of notes.
Totally. And, you're already speaking to something that I think is so important with some of the things we're going to talk about today, which is the implementation is the most important part, right? Like, it's one thing to know the information about the energetics or how to manifest or how to attract more abundance into your life. But if you're not applying the information directly in your day-to-day life, you're not going to see the results. It doesn't matter how much you know about manifestation if you're not applying the knowledge. So yay, I'm already excited.
Thank you so much. That's really such an exciting conversation. So can you talk a little bit about you, who you are, kind of your background, your human design, things to know more about you?
Yeah. Okay. So I am Kristen Cipriano, formerly Kristen Kaczynski. I got married last year and it took me a while to change over all of my social media and my website and everything. But Kristen Cipriano now. And I am a business mindset, energetics, and strategic coach. I'm also certified in a lot of trauma-informed modalities. So I do help business owners with even some of the deepest work that we can encounter as humans, which can come from trauma. And I consider myself a manifestation expert or queen or whatever you want to call it, right? I'm really freaking good at manifesting things. And I love to share the principles of manifestation with my business clients and show them how to apply manifestation to business. So that's kind of what I'm about. And as far as my human design, I'm a manifesting generator, in
Me
case you couldn't
too.
tell. Yeah, so that's part of the reason why I have all these like seemingly disparate skills that are all over the place, but they're really not all over the place when I look at my own business journey. Because if we take it back to the first ever moment in my business, which was the moment when I decided, okay, I'm going to quit my full-time corporate job and go all in on my business. This was before I made a sale. In that moment, I was already receiving spiritual guidance and confirmation that that was the right step, because in that moment, my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, texted me and let me know, hey, we got this really affordable subsidized housing for my new doctor training career part, right? He was going into his fellowship training. And so it was like, I decided to quit my job. And then we got this guidance that we were going to have like $600 per month rent, really, really affordable rent. And it was like the stars were starting to align from day one in my business. So that brings through the spiritual and the manifestation aspects. And then, of course, I implemented strategy in my business and saw how important it was to have rock solid strategies. And then at one point, about a year in, all of my trauma came up, and that started impacting my business. And so that's when I started learning some of the trauma healing modalities and going deeper into the energetics and looking at manifestation, not just from a mindset perspective, but also from a body perspective and energetic perspective, going deeper in my embodiment of these principles. And that's where I ended up today. So long story short, manifesting generator and lots of skills that I bring to the work I do.
This is beautiful. And I always love to hear people's stories, because you kind of understand when, people encountered a struggle or something that kind of like were like, oh shit, this is happening. Yeah. Like you were having like so many momentums, and then trauma is just hitting back, and you're just like, oh, I haven't thought about this. So let's just like have a look at what is it that is blocking me, what is it that I can do to, or just be, or and this is when you have the most beautiful learning, is when you just stumble on something and you're just like, oh, okay, didn't mean to happen, didn't know it would happen, but now it happened. I can prevent it now, and I can teach it to others. So this is truly what I love about the work we do, is that we've had some learnings and we get to also teach them to other people. And it's such an important thing that you're like telling your story and the traumas and helping people deal with that, because we often think about mindset a lot, but we also forget that our body like stores everything, and our unconscious and our subconscious also stores everything. So sometimes you want a big level of success, but if trauma is just like hitting on you, you're just like, oh, okay, my body is just not responding anymore. I feel totally like a wreck. I don't know what's happening. And it's because we have never learned how to properly like deal with the traumas, but also deal with like our bodies, like listen to it, and also like listen and just take care of it.
So true. And I have to say, for me, when my trauma started coming up, it happened shortly after the pandemic hit in 2020. That's when I kind of went through my spiritual awakening, and all my trauma came up. And it was this paradigm of no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't receive the results I wanted. I had this big block with receiving. And that led me to a lot of trauma healing. I was in, an abusive relationship at one point that I had completely blocked off. And in that time period when it all started to come up, it was like I was coming back into my body, but I had been so numb to the pain, so numb to the emotions for at least 5 years from that abusive relationship, that it was like almost overwhelming at first to come back into the body, because my body felt like I was living in 2014 or 2013 when it was 2020. And it's kind of trippy when you're experiencing something like trauma in your body, because you if you don't know anything about what's happening, you feel like you're just broken. You feel like you're just in this situation where no matter what you do, you're going to just fail at life, and you're just going to experience hardship for the rest of your life. And it can really make you feel like a victim. And I certainly felt like one for a long time. So that's where the trauma healing really came in for me. And I just started to notice, as I got to this place where I could feel peace in my body, I could take bigger risks in business, like calculated risks, right? Like I could believe that bigger money could come to me, whole body believe, right? I could put myself out there in a bigger way and truly be seen and speak my truth, right? A lot of us have, if we're in the online space, we have this fear of being seen and someone saying that we're a fraud or that they don't like us, right? Or just saying something mean to us. And all of that started to slowly fade away as I felt safer in my own body. Because here's what I learned over the course of this trauma healing journey is that our body, when we're fully embodied and we're fully present, is the safest place to be. And we can look outside of ourselves at things like money or things like, I don't know, a house, right? We can look outside of ourselves for things to create safety. And they do, right? Like it's easier to feel safe inside a house versus not having a home. And it's easier to feel safe with plenty of money in the bank versus having an overdrafted bank account, right? But in the end, our body is an infinite source of safety. So if we can find that infinite source of safety within our own body, then we can do the crazy things like go after our dreams, build our business, shoot for the stars when it comes to our income goal, and still feel safe all the time, no matter what's happening externally.
Yeah. And this is like so important. And I wish more people would talk about it, because we've been like growing up on survival mode. And when we're on business, like we're just, oh my God, I have to step outside my comfort zone. And our brain is just like, this doesn't feel safe. This doesn't feel like where I should go. So I'm a freak you out because right now I don't want to do this. And it's just about, knowing how to be safe within ourselves so that every situation that you are in, you get to feel safe, because sometimes you're like, well, when I will have more money, I will feel safe. But oftentimes people like have much bigger responsibilities with money. As an example, if you have employees, you know that you have people that needs actually you to pay them. If you have, a lot of clients, you actually got to do the work, and so it gets to also feel overwhelming when all of those things are happening, or even when you have, I don't know, a big TikTok that is like exploding and you have like all of those people watching your content and you're just like, I dreamed of that and now it's happening and I'm just feeling so like I want to shit in my pants. And it's just like, you have to also like, how can you feel safer within your body first, so that even when big scary things that you thought were going to be amazing, you get to just feel safe and come back to your truth and come back to you and be like, well, actually, I have everything I need to get through this. So I might as well just go through it. And, so that's super important.
Yeah. And it's so true what you say. When you experience more abundance, when your business grows and grows, it actually is in some ways a lot more that you're responsible for. But not only that, there's also this fear that can come up of like, can I make this last? Is this all going to go away tomorrow? And I think people don't think about that fear when they're starting to grow their business, they just focus on, okay, if I can get more money, if I can make more money, if I can make more money. And we kind of miss this thing that happens as you actually do become successful, which is sustaining it. And sustaining money is a different energy than receiving money, earning money, right? Like sustaining money, it's like, I experience it like this energetically in my body. It's like I have a certain amount of recurring revenue and it's going out for however many months, right? So if you're a business owner and you have a certain amount of recurring revenue and you're wanting to grow that, right? It's noticing how deeply can I fully rest in this recurring revenue. Let's say it's 5K per month. How fully can I rest on this 5K per month and let it hold me? Instead of me feeling like I have to sustain it and keep it going and force it, like how can I just rest into it, start to see it as something that is constant, that is reliable, and that is a foundation I can grow upon. And for a lot of us, and for me somatically, somatic means body. For me somatically, for a long time, I didn't even know what it felt like to rest. So energetically, it took me a while to be able to rest in a sustainable business income coming in month after month, because my body didn't even know what that felt like.
Yeah. This is so powerful when you understand that, you get to also choose to, okay, understand this is what's happening right now. And we're always talking about, the fact of receiving and allowing, but we're not talking enough about this thing of, well, can you sustain, like, is this sustainable? Is this something that you can do long term? This is why longevity in business is way much more important than having those big numbers like the first months in business and then just feeling overwhelmed by everything. And the next few months after this, you're just like not able to maintain them. So it's just like, what is it like useful for? And it's always so interesting to see how people react differently to that. And they're just like, well, I made 10K. It's awesome. Yay. But your life didn't change. So you're kind of like, well, okay, that's it. I'm in. And then it's just not happening. And you're like, oh my God, my life was so much more better when I had 10K. No, it was the same. It's just that your body was just like, well, not happening again. Let's just get it back.
Yeah. And that's the really interesting thing about money is we think it's going to change everything, but it's actually the opposite. We change when we start to really attract abundance and attract abundance consistently. It's because we changed internally and we decided that it didn't matter what happened outside of us. We were going to feel abundant anyway.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. For example, I have a mastermind I'm selling right now, and I have a certain number of spots in my heart that I want to fill, right? And for a time period, it was like there was no interest. And I knew in my soul, okay, this is an aligned offer. This is meant to be in the world. This is like combining years of my experience in business and my trauma training and all of these elements, right? It's combining years of my spiritual path into this container. So how can I hold the vision and trust with zero interest? And what do I need to shift if I am getting zero interest? What do I need to shift from a place of faith, from a place of trust to be in deeper alignment with the people that are meant to be in it? And it took me some little tweaks, some little evolution, some pieces of growth, but all of that had to happen before I could sell a spot, right? Like I couldn't wait for the spot to be sold to believe in the offer, right? Like I couldn't wait for the money to come to be changed into this leader who can handle if something's not selling and can make adjustments to make it sell, right? Like, so what we think is going to happen is after I receive the money, then I'm going to be this powerful leader and everyone's going to want to keep working with me. But what actually happens is after you truly commit to whatever it is you're asking for, whether it's a certain financial goal or a number of spots you want to sell in a program, and you commit to the path, no matter what it looks like, even if it looks like for crickets, that crickets are, no one's interested, right? For a week or a couple weeks, right? Even if that's what happens first, can you stay with it all the way through until the end without losing the vision, without giving up, without deciding that you're a failure, without deciding that I guess that manifestation wasn't meant to be? Because in that process of staying with the vision through thick and thin, through all of the little winding turns that the universe is going to throw at you, what happens is you become the person, the leader, the CEO, the woman, or however you identify, you become the person who is a match for that thing throughout the journey. Right. And it's not that the thing, the clients, the people, the money ever made you into that thing. You became that person who would naturally attract those things because you stay committed to the vision no matter what. And then in the end, when the clients come, when the money comes, it feels normal. It feels obvious. It feels like that was what was always supposed to happen, because look at how much you grew during that process. And it's this really radical perspective shift of how can I fall in love with the process of becoming instead of be so focused on the outcome I desire, right? Like hold the vision, but can you fall in love with the process? Can you fall in love with the journey?
Yeah. One of the things that I always say is if you don't believe in your offer, if you don't believe in yourself, how the hell can someone believe in you or your offer? You have to believe in it first, because when you believe that your offer is just the bomb, it's a no-brainer, people feel this energy. So they're just like, well, that's like obvious that I'm going to join, because if she believes in it so hard and that it shows that it's really the best offer for me with your messaging, etc. But mostly with your energy as well. We talk a lot about like the messaging, but when you believe strongly about an offer, the messaging gets to be way more easier, because you're just like, okay, you're getting downloads and you're just like, okay, this is exactly what I want. This is exactly what I need. And, it also has a lot to do with detachment work as well.
Yeah.
That I've learned over like the past few months. I believe I've been like, learning more, and I've seen your work about detaching yourself from this result, like every time, and be like, okay, if I get XYZ, then I will be. No, be before having those XYZ results. Because when you embody this leader, when you embody the person that is like, this offer is just a no-brainer because I'm telling you this, and also you can all like have all those, strategic, and this is how it changed my life, etc. But when you believe strongly in it, you come into this space of allowing people to be in it, not being afraid of people like having objections, because even if they do, you know how to answer those, and you know that the person that needs to see it will actually see it, and you don't care if like the couple of few days like you don't get sales or you don't get people interested, because you understand that as long as you love the process, how can you hold this vision so much that you're like keeping the same energy throughout the whole launch or the whole time that you are like talking about your offer? Because if you're like all getting pumped up because your offer is like live and you're talking about it for 2 days and then you're not seeing anyone and you're just, okay, that means it sucks. And you're just like, oh, okay.
I know. And like, notice what your body did. So you were like up here, you were like, yeah, it's amazing. And then you were like, oh, and you're like your body and your energy literally collapsed. And that's the interesting thing that happens is like, we cause our own collapse. Like we self-sabotage so much. And I am the queen. You put the crown on my head. I am the queen of self-sabotage.
Yeah.
And, that's part of my work with clients because it happens so much. And really from a spiritual perspective, that's actually like a really empowering thing to recognize, oh, it's just me that's preventing this from coming in. What do I need to adjust to feel better about receiving this, right? Like it can be an empowering experience to look at your self-sabotage. But you're so right. It's like if we're waiting for the validation from the universe that what we're doing is going to work, well, we've already like kind of shot ourselves in the foot and made it impossible for the magic to unfold. I actually learned about this concept a day or two ago, and I didn't know it was like part of manifestation, but I had experienced it before in my own manifestations. And then I read this book. It's called The Game of Life and How to Play It. Have you read that?
No.
Oh, super good. Great recommendation. It's called The Game of Life and How to Play It. And it talked about this concept of right before you reach land, so to speak. Like, let's say you're on a ship, you're on a boat, and land is the manifestation. So right before you reach land, you're going to get some sort of sign. It's going to be a little teeny tiny sign that you're close to land. Maybe it's like a bird, right? Like a bird flies onto your boat and lands on your boat. Or maybe it's like a tree branch that you see floating in the ocean. And maybe you can't see land yet because there's like a bunch of fog, but you know, oh, there's a tree branch. I must be close to trees. I must be close to land, right? So when we're in the process of selling our offer or manifesting something big in our business, we're going to get this little tiny sign that we're on the right path. But what happens is a lot of us, when we get that sign, our ego takes over and says, oh man, I didn't get what I actually wanted. I just got this little tiny thing. And I'll give you an example of this. So let's say you're selling a program and someone reaches out right away on the first day and they're like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. Tell me more about it. And so you start to tell them more about it. They get excited. And then they come back a day or two later and they're like, actually, I can't sign up for this right now, but I love your work. I'm going to continue to follow you, right? So what a lot of us do is our ego attaches to that outcome and says, man, I could have had this client, but it didn't work out. I am just screwed. Like, this launch is over. Why do I even try? I'm a failure at business, right? Like, we talk ourselves into the collapse. But maybe what that was that little sign that you're almost at land, right? Maybe that person saying no was that little sign like, okay, how can I lean even deeper into faith that this is going to work? And what do I want to say now to my community from this space of faith that will get the right people who are meant to be in this program to pay attention, right? So we have to keep an eye out for those little tiny signs that say that we are on the right path, because those are going to become your faith builders before anything happens in the physical.
I love this. And it seems like I've seen that when you launch this mastermind, you've had another messaging, I believe.
Yeah. We went through a lot of evolution, full transparency.
And that's what I love, is like you had this transparency to talk about it with people and say, this is where I kind of screwed up. And this is what happened. And this is what I did. I just shifted. And I love that, because, you know, you understood that the messaging, I believe it was the messaging, right?
So I changed two big things with this mastermind. I changed the messaging, the branding, and even the name of the mastermind. And then I also changed the pricing. The messaging and branding changed because I was coming from actually they both changed because I was coming from my ego when I originally created the offer. But that's kind of like the trippy thing. Sometimes you don't realize that you're creating something from your ego, right? And so that doesn't mean it's broken. That doesn't mean it's not meant to be. It means, okay, how can I adjust to get back into alignment, right? So for me, I had to change the messaging and make it more softer, more encouraging and empowering. Originally, the messaging was a lot more like strong, powerful, let's take on the world. And as I came back to presence and looked at it with new eyes, I realized, okay, this is why it's not selling, because it's actually, I've evolved beyond this, right? And that was what I realized was, okay, this used to be me, but I'm actually a lot deeper than this now. And I don't need to put on this persona of like being a strong leader. I can just be a strong leader while being myself, right? So I made that shift. And then the pricing I changed because honestly, just because I was getting in my own head about it, right? Like I was feeling like I had to prove the value of the offer to my audience. And I didn't like how that felt. And I didn't like that I couldn't get into a good flow with selling my offer because I felt this like weird having to prove the value energy. And so I dropped the price by $6,000 and I instantly felt better. Like I was instantly like, oh, I'm going to sell this out. Like I already know it. Like I had this feeling of like, yes. And then I, just had all this content pouring out of me effortlessly. And it became so easy to sell it. And so, yeah, we get to evolve and change and shift back into alignment. And, I think that's why a lot of the trauma healing and the emotional resiliency stuff is so important in business, because I'll tell you, a year ago and definitely 2 years ago, I would have been like crying on the bathroom floor, like, and I would have like ghosted my social media audience for like a week and like cried and like just been so upset with myself and had this pity party. Now I can look at things objectively and see, okay, not working. What's wrong? Okay, let's change it and keep moving, right? So it's been really fun actually to see all of my skills over the past 3 years come together during this launch, which I think is like the perfect initiation for this program, because that's what this program is all about. It's combining everything I learned. And so the universe is like, okay, prove it to us, show us that you actually learned all these things and, be that leader for these future clients.
Yeah, I love this. I really love this. And, I've kind of like understood about when you are selling something or even talking to your offer, you have some experts that are really like, you shouldn't do this. In order for you to really sell, you need to have the perfect messaging, the perfect sales page. And I'm here to show you that if you don't join, then you will miss this, this, this. And, they are selling from a place of scarcity, like the scarcity factor, like you have to make the urgency factor. And when I was listening to this, I was like, I don't know if this is really something that I want to do with my offers. I don't really like feel aligned with that. So I did it once, I talked about, you have to join before this time, etc. Kind of like having this urgency. And I just was like, that's not very me. Like, I just want people, because as a manager, and I know that I go full in like pretty quickly, but I also know that there are a lot of people that just need some time to chill out, and you don't want to feel stressed out when you're like, investing. And I kind of like encountered like a lot of content, because the universe speaks to me through content a lot. Like every time that I'm like looking or just like, okay, give me a sign, I see content that was meant for me. And I'm just like, whoa, okay, that's huge. And I was seeing more and more content about the way that empowering people instead of like talking to their pain points every time. Some experts are like, yeah, talk to their pain points, talk about the things that doesn't go well into their lives. And how about like when you join the program or the coaching, it will like all go away. And instead of that, how about we empower them to take a decision? People have brain. They don't need to like feel scared for their lives to actually join you. It's just like, how can you empower them to just join you because they want to, because they feel like, oh my God, this is my shit. I get to expand. I get to be, but I also know that I'm also great the way I am. Like, I don't need to feel so stressed out about my life, because it's not about you joining a program or coaching because you're not enough. It's like you already are enough. We can help you expand. We can help you, heal and, get clarity and all of those things. But at the end of the day, you are the decisioner of your life. You are the one taking the decision. So I was just like, how about, everything I do is about empowerment. Like literally, this is the name of my podcast. And I was just like, this sounds so much more like me, to empower others, to just join and empower them, like instead of like targeting their pain points and just be like, yeah, this is your life. I know. Just like talking to their higher self, talking to the self that already knows that they're worthy as fuck and
Yeah.
that they can actually get what they desire, but not because they joined, because they choose to take the decision to do so. And it can be by joining, can be by following my content, by following someone else, by doing the shit they want, by journaling, by doing everything they want. But at the end of the day is like, how can you empower them to take the decision from a place of abundance, from a place of, oh my God, I want this. Oh my God, like this is so amazing. I feel so empowered. And even like when they join, they don't have this thing of, oh, I don't know if I should have joined because I was just feeling so scared. And now that I'm just coming back to me, it's like, I don't know. But it's about, whoa, I joined. That's like, oh my God, that's what I want people to feel.
Yeah. Well, and here's like a real practical way to implement that. What I call this, I vision cast for my soulmate clients, right? So I see their biggest results possible. Like if every star aligned, if the universe was literally at their back, which it is, at their back, guiding them the entire time, and they showed up to my mastermind or whatever I'm selling, and they did the work and they got the best possible results. Where are they now? And what does that vision look like? When we vision cast for our soulmate clients, we help them open up their eyes and start to see, oh, I do want that. I do want to be in the room with other powerful women, or I do want to have a best-selling book in a year, or I do want to scale to multi-six figures, whatever it is, right? Like we start to remind them and open up their eyes beyond whatever limitations they're currently living in, which is pain points, right? So yeah, we can speak to the limitations, but that's not as much fun as speaking to the vision for you or them. And then the other thing with that is, according to the universal law of we are all one, right? All there is all connected. You are actually one with your soulmate client, right? So how do you want to feel when you buy something? Do you want to feel like you're broken and like someone is rescuing you? Or do you want to feel like this person is going to help me realize my biggest dreams and I am so excited to pay them, right? Like really recognize however you want to feel is how you want your clients to feel when they pay you. So how can you create that environment with your marketing and your content to make it an easy yes, right? And connecting them to the bigger vision is a big part strategically of how we can do that. Because sometimes we just forget to dream big. And that's what coaches are for, right? Like coaches are here to remind us that we get to dream big and to give us the support and the space, hold the space for us to actually bring that into our reality. So remember that you're a coach first and foremost, if you are one, and then connect your clients to the bigger vision of why they would even hire you. So it becomes natural for them to say yes.
Yeah. Talk to the version of them that is like feeling so empowered and so like expansive, instead of talking to the version of them that is scared. Like a person that is scared is just not willing to take action. A person that wants this big, bold vision that is like, oh my God, this feels, so good. And you're just like talking to that version and to that vision. And it's just so much more like powerful because people get to just feel this vibe. And yeah, exactly. As coaches, this is our work. This is what we do. We get to empower others. We get to, like help them step into their power. It's also like about helping them remember. It's not about becoming a new version or another version. It's just about remembering who we are. And most of us are just bold and courageous and beautiful and just perfect and just like, getting to grow and all of those things, because we wouldn't be in business or in coaching if it wasn't for expansion or growth. because literally that's what we do every day. So it's always great to help them remember that, because sometimes we forget. Sometimes we'll just get caught up into this life and we're just like, am I good enough? Yes, you are. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's like another way of thinking about it from an energetic perspective. So obviously unconditional love, God consciousness, Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it, this vibration, this perspective, this awareness is highest vibration, right? So we are kumbayaing with the universe. We are in deep alignment when we are looking through the lens of unconditional love. So can you look at your audience, your community, your future clients as these perfect beings that you already unconditionally love? And then here's the real key. They already unconditionally love you too, right? Because a lot of times when we're feeling not good enough, it's because we, at some point in childhood, experienced someone who showed us conditional love, right? So they only loved us if we were a good girl, or they only loved us if we did all our chores before doing all our homework or whatever it is, right? So we experienced conditional love. So if you start to feel into what it would feel like if 5 clients or 10 clients or 100 clients are out there in the spiritual realm and they unconditionally love you, meaning you can't fuck it up, right? Meaning they're already decided that they're going to work with you. They just might not know it yet, right? Meaning you are perfect exactly as you are, and they are perfect exactly as they are. And it's a two-sided process of finding each other and creating the energetic container that you will walk through together. Now it's like, it's like such a relief. It's like, I don't have to convince anyone. They already love me.
Yeah. Same thing with your clients. You don't need to convince them that they want your offer or that they want what they actually want. They already do know that they want it. Or at least when you are like talking to their like vision self, they're just like, oh, that's true. I do want it. So you don't even need to convince anyone. And
if they don't want it, they leave. And it's fine because someone else is finding you right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't need anyone to show you that you get to feel love. You are the one that can show yourself that you get to feel love. And in any other way, everyone deserves to feel love and be loved. And, even but mostly like within ourselves. I think sometimes it's so much more like difficult to love ourselves than to love people. And so I've the first time I've heard this, I was like, oh, that's big. But the amount that you love yourself, or like the amount that you love yourself, or the way you let yourself love yourself, I hope it means anything, is the same amount that you can love someone else. I don't have the right word, but if you can't love yourself and choose to give yourself this grace to just be authentic and be who you are, is just simply perfect, then you won't be able to as well communicate that love. And it's the same way, if you don't communicate with yourself, you're not going to be able to communicate with others. So it's kind of like we are a mirror of people and people are a mirror of us. So when we accept ourselves, when we accept our truth, and we're just like, instead of being, okay, so once I will have like 10 clients, I will then be a coach that I can feel confident as, because it will show that, I will have testimonials and I will have people that, pays me. And so if this is happening, then it means that when you're just like, I'm just a badass coach because I choose to be. And of course, it's going to mirror that. I'm going to mirror that with my clients and just be a best coach for them because I choose to be. Yeah. So, yeah.
It's holding that highest vision for yourself too, right? Like hold it for your audience, hold it for your clients, and also hold it for yourself. And when you come from that space, it's like success is inevitable. If you keep seeing yourself as like, I am that successful coach or that successful CEO that I desire to be, and I see myself as capable of growing into that, right? Like that can be a big like linking energy, right? Sometimes all we need to say to ourselves is, I am capable of growing into that 10K per month coach, or I am capable of growing into that $1 million coach, right? Like even just saying I am capable can start to open up some of that self-love and that self-belief, because the victim story or like the ego story is that you're not good enough and you're not capable. But if you start to open up, oh, wait, I can see how it's possible for me to grow into that. I can see how I'm capable of that. Now you're just creating a little bit of spaciousness for some of the magic to flow and for some of that self-belief to come in.
This is beautiful. I love this. Oh my God. I told you you wanted to take a notebook and just write it all up. Because this
I know,
is so
I'm like,
powerful.
this is channeling through and this is channeling through.
This is the best conversation. It's just like when you talk, like just be authentic. You know, you're just like, I just say what I want to say and it's going to come through me because I know that I get to just let myself think a little bit and then just we talk. We are many Jen. So we always get channeled.
Yeah. Well, and this is like a little metaphysical for you, but it's actually like anything I'm saying, it's like you're creating that too, right? So something in your energy or your spiritual makeup is saying, oh, Kristen, say this. And then it's channeling through me. And then things that you're saying are things that the listeners want to hear from you. And, you know, things that I'm saying are things that a listener 10 years from now is going to need to hear, right? This like omnipresence of consciousness, this Christ consciousness, it like channels through all of us. And so the more we can, of course, be our authentic selves, the more we let the natural divine wisdom flow through us. And it's not Kristen that's sharing this wisdom. It's coming from the bigger presence that surrounds all of us and is within all of us, which, you know, that's a little meta, but I felt called to share it.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. I would love for you to share something that you would feel like my listeners should or get to remember for this episode.
Oh, this is a good one. This is a lesson I learned the hard way. I'm also a 6'2", but I'm still in my Saturn return. So I'm still technically operating like a 3-line in human design, which is like the great experimenter. And this part of my profile learns through trial and error. So this is a big lesson I learned through trial and error this year that I want to impart on the listener, which is that when you have really big desires, really, really big desires, really, really big manifestations, or even just sort of big manifestations, right? Like whatever that is for you. As soon as you ask for that goal, that manifestation, those clients, that money, now you have set in motion a process of initiation. A process of initiation where the universe is literally going to deliver you situations to grow through, right? So you can become that energetic match for that desire. So if you ask for something big and then a shit show starts to happen in your life, how can you look at it from this perspective of, this is normal. This is part of what I asked for, right? Like I asked to grow, and this is the fuel for my growth right now. And how can I move through this situation with grace, knowing that my desire is guaranteed, right? So oftentimes we'll say, okay, I want to make a 10K month or whatever, right? And then we'll have this huge obstacle come up in our life or our business. And we'll look at that obstacle and then we'll turn around and go back and say, maybe 10K month isn't for me this month. I'll try next month. you just missed everything, right? When that obstacle comes up, your job is to move through it. And on the other side is that motherfucking 10K month or whatever it is, right? So just remember that when you're asking for big desires, you're also asking for growth opportunities. And sometimes they're really going to suck. Sometimes your ego is going to be like, why, universe? Why did you deliver this to me? But if you can have that larger perspective of like, okay, I just need to grow through this, and then I know my desire is going to come to be, then you can approach it with a lot more faith and resiliency and not feel so attacked by the universe.
This is really powerful. I love this. And it totally resonates, because sometimes when it's a big shit show in your life and you're just like, how can I get out of this? I have no idea. Is when you get the most and beautiful and powerful learnings of your time. And it's about, will you stop going after your goals because there is an obstacle, or will you still go full in 100%? Either it's working or not, but disclaimer, it will always work if you still go for it. You will always have something bigger waiting for you. But if you don't, then of course it's not happening. So it's all about, like, the choice is yours at the end of the day. And even if, people are saying to you, keep going, sometimes you're like, well, everyone is saying this to me, but I'm just like, that doesn't apply to this situation because X or XYZ. And you're just like, okay. But how can you just keep like having this faith? It's kind of like what we talked about at the beginning, like, bringing this safety into yourself. And, sometimes the external world isn't safe or doesn't feel safe. And it's just you who can do that for yourself.
Yeah. So profound. And I love how you tied us back to the beginning there.
Hey, I love this conversation and I thank you so much. I would love to know what is like the next level, or the next level for you in your business. Do you have an idea of what it is?
So I am setting the intention for $1 million year next year. I wanted to hit it this year, but the universe said, you need to do a little more growth before you're fully ready for that. And I accepted that challenge. So now I feel like I'm in this space where I can truly handle anything. I do have that safety in my body. I am able to meet the obstacle and keep moving through it. I am able to see the bigger perspective. I'm moving into more of my 6 profile now, where I'm seeing things from the top, and it feels really, really fucking good. So I'm going for the $1 million year. And, I don't look at this year as a failure. I look at this year as like, oh, that was the boot camp I had to go through to truly be ready for $1 million year. So we're going to do that with high ticket group programs. My mastermind is one of them. I'm also going to write a book next year.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that's coming. That'll be definitely lower cost than a lot of my high ticket programs. I'm also playing with the idea of like signature manifestation as it relates to business course, and or money energetics course. So we are going to come back to the online course realm. And then I'm going to have some live event stuff going on. So I have one live event as part of my mastermind that I'm most likely going to open up to the general public as well, just to make it a bigger event and to get in the room with other powerful women, because man, we have been locked up for too long.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the plan. I
see the management here, like having like so many projects, but all of them are so like amazing. And, they are like, when you have those types of projects, you're just like, whoa, I get to live this fucking life. This is so powerful. I'm going to make this happen. And I know you will. And I'm so excited to see this.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
This is amazing. Let's send a lot of prayers and, courage for Kristen, because she's going to have a huge year, and I'm so excited for your success.
Thank you so much. It's well received.
Yeah, amazing. Can you tell my listeners where they can find you online for your services and on social media?
Totally. So on Instagram, I'm at Kristen.Cipriano. KristenCipriano.com is my main website. And then I have a free manifestation meditation. So if you go to futureselfmeditation.com and enter your email address, I'll send you a couple of journal prompts before the meditation that you can journal on. And then it's a 17-minute meditation where we not only do the visualization aspect, but we also shift you energetically. So you're in alignment with this future outcome, and it's really powerful. So that's futureselfmeditation.com if you want to check that out.
Awesome. Everything will be in the show notes and on the description below. Thank you again, Kristen, for being here and for sharing all this wisdom, all these powerful words, and your energy.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you to the listeners.
I wish you a really great day, listeners, and I'll see you next week. Bye. If you enjoyed this episode, I would be so grateful for you to subscribe to the Empowerpreneur podcast and leave a review. Let me know what you enjoyed and tell me who would you like to see on the podcast next. I'll see you next week.